Hey, it's Vanessa, and welcome to the energy read for July 2024. If you happen to find this recording at any other time, just means that there's some info in here that's going to be especially helpful for you. So please do keep tuning in. In addition to highlighting the energy undercurrent that's going to be a bit louder for us in July. I'll also be sharing with you a mudra, a mantra, and a medicine. These are energy tools that you can work with. So not only do you know what's up with the energy, but you know how to navigate it. You know how to better ride the wave of whatever is going on, because that's that's the game we're in right now, especially for those of us that are really tuned in to how energy is shifting and changing. If you are more energy sensitive, energy curious, energy aware, this is definitely going to be something that you'll want to continue listening to. Before I go any further, though, I definitely want to welcome you here, whether you are new or returning. I really do appreciate your presence. Thank you for that. And please do like, comment, subscribe, share, click to get notifications, all that good social media stuff. So this gets out to more of my people. I appreciate that as well, too. And let's see, anything else I want to tell you before we get into the details of July's energy? Yes, I do actually have a special announcement. So I have a brand new, very colorful website right now. And to celebrate the launch of that, there is a coupon code that you can use on any of the 10 offerings that you see on my site. So it ranges from DIY classes and courses to live group experiences to one-on-one mentorship with me. And every aspect of my work revolves around aligning your purpose to the paradigm shift that we are currently in. So right now is an incredibly potent and transformational time. We're experiencing from, the old earth or old world or old paradigm to the new earth, new world, new paradigm. And we're in a bridge time right now. And that bridge is really calling us forward in new ways to show up and to contribute in new ways. And those that I work with, they have a big mission, big hearts, and a big gift to offer up to the world, just natural gifts that are meant to be used in service of the paradigm shift. And so everything, again, that I offer is in alignment with doing that. So go to vasmith.com. You'll see all the details, all the results, all the offer, all the things. And you'll find the coupon code there as well. That's only going to be there until July 15th. So if you do happen to catch this recording before then, go use that and take advantage, because I don't use coupon codes very much, but this was a big shift for me to create this very colorful and clear, bold stance on what I'm about. So if you're here, it's probably going to vibe with you too. So check it out. With that, I'm going to jump into the reading and share with you first the overall theme for July that I kept hearing on repeat. And it's a phrase I would say that feels very etched. Like it's a phrase that you can remember, and every time I saw it, it was almost like an etching that you would see on a wall, or just something that felt very embedded into our reality. And yeah, it had a very kind of tangible feel to it, and you might experience that when you think about this phrase. But the phrase was faith and finality. Faith and finality being the key underlying energy that we'll be moving through as a collective in the month of July. So you may find these themes a bit louder for you, and the goal again is to intentionally work with that. So let's first talk about faith and what that means. So faith, as it showed up from an energetic perspective, is really actually about clarity. It's about tuning in to what your faith is all about. There's a phrase that I'm sure you've heard. It's called blind faith. And there's many people operate off of blind faith. And this isn't necessarily a religious thing. It could be blind faith in the system being honest with you, or blind faith that their doctor knows everything, or whatever it is. But there's a sense of turning your faith over to another authority. And so the faith, the undertone energetically of the faith that was coming through for July was to really start getting a sense of what your personal, specific experience of faith is all about. And to be able to bring it in from a more ideological or conceptual kind of stance, right? I have faith in this. We have this conviction when we have faith, but to bring it into your body. So you have this sense that you can relax, right? There's an inherent trust in life, in yourself, in um, knowing who to trust, in a higher power or source energy or God or whatever you choose to call that, because there certainly is that. We're not out here floating on our own here. There is a larger plan that is absolutely unfolding, that we are a part of, and that we are also a part of scripting. And so you want to look at your faith this month and how often you lose faith and what happens for you when you lose faith. What happens in your body? Where do your thoughts go? What are the feelings that might come up on repeat whenever you lose a sense of faith, whenever you lose a sense of it's not working out? Um, Whenever you lose hope for whatever's at hand. And it's a fascinating and really challenging time to be a part of, whether you pay attention to a mainstream narrative or not, right? So even if you're far removed from it and you're in your own, you're focused really more on your inner world, your personal external world, and not paying too much attention to all the things that are shifting and changing externally, we're still going to feel it energetically. We're going to feel the wobble. We're going to feel when a big wave comes up where everybody's trying to steady themselves. That energy is something that transmits, whether you're consciously visually paying attention to other narratives around the breakdowns that are happening. And so because of that, we could have this feeling of, oh gosh, I can't quite put my finger on what exactly is happening, but I feel rocked. I feel like something is off. Check your faith. I always say check the energy. That's the name of my podcast, name of my weekly newsletter. It is a phrase that is very much with me, but this month it's going to be about checking your faith and what what pushes your buttons, what triggers you, where you feel a sense of losing that faith, and also what activates you to start feeling a deeper well of faith. What makes that shift for you? What helps to steady you in your faith? What are the external circumstances or objects or reminders or playlists or pieces that you can put into place so you feel supported in your faith, that you can abide by your faith, whatever that looks like for you? And as you do that, what you'll likely find happen is you'll feel calmer, you'll feel more trusting, you'll feel more clear, you'll feel more connected with life, and you'll feel more both invested and committed to the long term, right? We live in a very short-term kind of culture. The focus, at least on a mainstream, it's like everything is moving very fast and we're switching from focus to focus to focus, and you can lose your grounding very easily, especially if you're of the more, sensitive ilk, because there's a lot of energy moving and there's a lot of discordant rhythm, like just collectively, right? Everybody's like, looking all over in all of these different spaces. And what keeps us steady is faith. What keeps us steady is trust. What keeps us steady is security and connection to our physical vessel, to the place that we are standing on, to nature. Like, what are the pieces to life and to light, to God, source, universe, to all of these pieces? So, when you start really intentionally hooking into those types of rhythms and those energetic qualities, you experience life differently. You're more willing to deal with the hard stuff. You're more willing to have the hard conversations. You're more willing to look at things from a long-term trajectory because you're abiding by your faith. You're trusting in the process. And that creates the regulation that our physical body and our emotional body and our energetic body and our mental body, all of these aspects of ourselves, really craves that steadiness and that regulation. And faith can give you that. So, what this also may present energy wise, though, is and I'll will admit to you, I don't really love to think in these terms, but this is what was coming through as I was looking at the energy is test and temptation. It feels all very biblical, and I'm not coming at this from a religious perspective, but the words that were coming through for this month feel a little more biblical for whatever reason. And so, test and temptation, I don't tend to look at life through that lens. And so, there may be some deeper release or healing that's going on for the collective around feeling like life is testing them, or feeling like they need to pass some sort of test, or feeling like they're tempted to go off of the plan that they committed to, or whatever it is. It is so strange to me. It's been a while since I really paid attention to, or at least lived by, a more mainstream narrative. And so when I go out in the world and I see some of the branding or commercials or things that are being sold, and I'm just like, what is this? It's like a pick your poison kind of, are we in hell? Like, what is happening here? There's just, everybody's choosing a different poison, a poisonous thought or a poisonous substance to eat. Like, I see the color of the drinks that people are eating. I'm like, what in the world is happening here? And all of these things, while they could be tempting in the moment, and I mean, my version of that would be like a chocolate croissant, right? It's not the greatest thing, but I'm also not eating oddly colored chemical drinks or food or things of that nature, or smoking anything. That's just not my thing. But we all have this sort of flavor of like, what tempts you to go off your path of alignment, whatever that is. And sometimes it's just a thought that we think, a doubt thought, or an anxiety thought, or a fearful thought that we have on loop in our head over and over again, that becomes like poison to our system. So it could be something, different than like ingesting whatever is out there that they call food. Like, what? It blows my mind, to be honest. And I'm sure I'll probably have a lot to say about that as time continues to go on. So, with faith can often come what feel like tests. I can't even say that word, tests. Language is funny. And temptation. Test and temptation. And it doesn't mean that we can't make mistakes, and it doesn't mean that we're, supposed to live some straight-laced life. Or all we're meant to do is to abide by our own energy and to be in tune with our own natural rhythm and to know who we are and to know what our natural purpose is, to know how we're meant to contribute our gifts to this life. And that's a discovery process. That's an awakening journey. And there may be pieces along the way that um, might distract you off that path. But that I have found is the most rewarding path there is to walk. And that's the path that I'm walking, the path that I surround myself wise personally and professionally. So faith is going to be a big theme in the month of July. So check yours, check your faith, and learn what your faith is rooted in, and then abide by it. Well, kind of watch your world, watch your thoughts, your feelings, your choices in the world. And does it line up with your faith and what you believe to be true for you in your path? The other piece, though, that is very connected to the energy in July is finality, faith and finality. And usually when we think of finality, we think ending, beginning, two sides of the same coin. There's this sense of, oh gosh, what a relief when something ends, something that you don't want to continue experiencing, and then it's over. Or there could be grief and, um, anger and sadness and all sorts of feelings when there's an ending. But you always kind of know that there's going to be a beginning on the other side of the coin, that that's the natural, way that works out. But there's a different, that I wasn't getting an ending beginning kind of vibe for July. I was getting finality. And it had a little bit more of a, not stern, kind of grave, just more serious tone to it, more final. I mean, finality, final. It's kind of like a relationship was here and now it's not. A person was alive and now they're dead. Like it's got a very like, we're done, final, it's done, type of energy to it. And so you're gonna, from a broader picture perspective, you're gonna want to look at, what is it that you've been holding on to that you've been wanting to release from your space? Because this may be the month that life kind of comes right up and decides to release it for you. There is an element of getting a bit of a kick in the pants. Like, we're just done. We are done kind of playing out this old patterning or this old frequency or this old dynamic. We're done with it. And it's done. There's no more talking about it. There's no more trying to revamp it into a new beginning. There's no, like, it's done. It's actually done. And so this is a good time to also reflect on other periods of your life where there was a conclusion, a final ending to something. So perhaps when you graduated from a program, you were done. Or when a relationship ended, it's done. When you moved, like I knew when I moved from America to, I hope I don't eat my words, I really do. But when I moved from America to Europe, 7 years ago, I was done. I knew that it was final. I knew I was not going to ever go back to America. It was just, I felt very, very clear about that. And I still feel that clarity. So there's just another sense of finality that's coming through right now for the collective. So look at your relationships, look at your beliefs, look at your, daily habits, look at just all these pieces, like we know when something's dragging on us and it needs to be complete. This is also, I want to say, if there's something that feels like it's not over, like you would have never thought something final would happen between you and another person or the job or whatever it is, like it didn't even enter your consciousness, like that something would be final and be over, you might get a surprise in July. This is not for anyone specific. This is not a premonition or a guarantee that that will happen, but that's what the energy feels like. That it's either going to be the kick in the pants of, we're finally done with this dynamic. Like we are done. You're done. And whether that's you making the decision or life making the decision for you, it just feels very final. And conversely, you could not feel done with something, could not even be a thought in your head that something is over, and then it is, and that's it. And so that is really also a gift now to appreciate what you have, appreciate the people in your life, appreciate, whatever it is that you're surrounded by. Take the moments of gratitude and really bring it into your system now, because we know from experience and also just logic that things always change. And yet, on a day-to-day basis, do we allow ourselves to really be present with whatever is in our lives and to really appreciate who and what we have? Or are we off in some other reality, energetically thinking of a million things, or getting into a feeling storm or emotional loop or whatever it is, or stepping on our own feet and not letting ourselves get ahead? And so faith and finality, those are the themes, and they're very much going together, kind of like an infinity eight, right? Faith and finality. And so when something potentially ends for you this month, is that going to rock your faith? And what do you need to have in place to feel really solid within yourself and your connection to life and your trust in a larger picture of whatever is unfolding that can carry you through whatever that finality looks like? Now, I'm giving you maybe some extreme examples. Again, not as a premonition, but probably just because I'm a Scorpio and just like everything in my world and perception is very much like death, rebirth, transformation, what's underneath the surface. And I believe my Mercury is in Scorpio as well. So there's this very penetrative, direct, let's get to it. Let's talk about what's really going on, that tends to come through a lot. It could, the finality and the faith that you may experience in this month could also be very buoyant and joyous and exciting and adventurous and something that you've been wanting forever, like the doors finally open. So it could be all of those things too, which is also a good reminder for myself, so I don't get too scorpionic with my own stuff. But it could be something very joyous as well. So be open that even though faith and finality can have maybe a heavier energy to them sometimes, can also be the energy of freedom and flight and fun, and I'm trying to think of another F word. Fabulous. I know it could be all sorts of things, right? So planting that seed, and then I would love to share with you the mantra, mudra, and medicine. So I'll do that right now. The mantra, I got kind of two, and they're partially from me, and they're going to be partially from you. So usually when I give a mantra, I'm I'm not a I'm not going by anybody else's definition of what a mantra is or an affirmation is. It's just a sentence essentially that I find works really well with the energy of what's moving through, and that will support you in that. Mantras obviously are lovely on repeat. So the mantras that were coming through are to my intuition is telling me. My intuition is telling me, and then you get to fill that in. So in those moments where you feel like there's an opening for you to make that statement, it could be a good practice for you to develop to do it in the morning or do it in the evening, do it when you're done with work. My intuition is telling me could be super helpful if something happens where you feel triggered, your buttons are being pushed. My intuition is telling me, dot, 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 fill it in. Another way to work with that is when I intuitively assess this, I get dot, dot, dot. So the goal, the intention with pretty much everything that I put out there is to get you more highly attuned to your intuitive system, to be able to energetically assess and navigate and move through life from that perspective, because it's a higher frequency way to move through the world. It's a way that connects you very directly with your true power and your true light, and allows you to better express the love and the creative expression that you're here to be. And I don't mean like an artist, I mean you are a creator being. We create every day, all the time, with everything we do, for better or for worse. And so the goal, the end goal really is to help you come to that type of energy, that creator impulse, that creative expression in alignment with you, which the path to get there is via intuition and energy. It's just how it works. And so using those two mantras, either my intuition is telling me dot, 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 or when I intuitively assess, I get dot, dot, dot. And so what that's going to do is to drop you into the big picture. It's going to allow you to energetically begin to read what's going on with a person, a situation, yourself, whatever it is. And that's going to disrupt the old dynamic of the habits of however you think about something, because we all have habit patterns of thought and of feeling. And the more that you disrupt that with your intuition, the more you're setting into motion a new kind of program to run by. And we're in a very program upgrade and activation type of time right now, for good reason, again, because we're moving from an old paradigm to a new paradigm, and you you're the bridge, right? So if you got a foot in one world and a foot in the other world, and those worlds get further and further apart, it's going to be a little, I mean, unless you're super flexible and like to do the splits, it's going to get a little uncomfortable. And so the more that you can live via your intuition and your energetic assessment of whatever is happening in your life, wherever your faith abides and wherever the finality happens, then you're going to position yourself where that bridge is just going to be a supportive foundation that you can walk across, rather than you being pulled into into two. So that's the mantra I want to share with you. The mudra got a very similar to Libra. The symbol for Libra, the balancing of the scales. Well, I guess the balancing of the scales. So to hold your hands like this. And so you're literally, your palms are going to be, or your hands are perpendicular to your arm, as you can see. And you're just going to hold it out. And it's going to be either, you can do it, yeah, just I'd say a little bit above shoulder length, or a little bit above where your shoulders are. So if you happen to be listening to this, instead of watching it, I'll do my best to describe this, but your elbows are bent, your bottom half of your arm is pointing upwards and your hand is perpendicular to the bottom half of your arm. So hopefully you can picture that, and you'll notice that, and I hope you're doing this right now with me, but you'll notice that as you hold your hands in this position, you'll start to feel some sensation in the palm of your hands. I know I am right now. And what this is doing is it's a stance of balance. It's a stance of receiving. It's also a stance of I'm going to say a rootedness between the upper world and the lower world. So there really is the sense that you are connected above these higher frequency expressions of life as well as below with some lower frequency expressions, which is not good or bad. It's just is the reality that we're living in. We're navigating these different ways of being and expressing and experiencing reality, and they're on a scale of frequency. And so when you hold this stance, it's essentially saying, I'm here for it. I don't need to distract. I don't need to check out of my body. I don't need to addict. I don't need to give myself poison. I don't need to have this loop of thoughts. I don't need to get caught up in anxiety. You don't need to do all that. Hold this stance. So when you feel the temptation or the test of faith or a finality that you did or didn't expect, pull this stance in and just stand there for a minute or sit. I'm sitting and hold this stance. And you'll notice that the energy will begin to feel different to you. You'll start to interpret what's happening for you in your reality in a very different kind of way. So our body is an incredible vessel and tool to work with to help reestablish some harmony and rhythm in our own system so we can move through life in a more aligned kind of way. So that is the mudra. And then the medicine that I wanted to share with you, oh gosh, I actually have a couple of things I want to share with you. The first one that popped in is this. Can you see it? There. Oh, yeah, there you go. So if you happen to be listening to this recording and not watching it, go over to my YouTube channel, Vanessa Smith Energy Guidance, and see this. So what I'm holding up is sodalite. It's a rock crystal gem, and sodalite is good for purifying your aura. We pick up a lot of energy, and it just exists as static in our space. And so those moments where you're like, I don't know why I feel like this, but I feel like this, especially if you're an empath, because empaths pick up the energy of what's around them. This is a good cleansing tool for that. And when we have an energy theme of faith and finality, there could be a lot of thoughts and emotions and physical sensations moving through your system, bringing up a lot of stuff. We could pick up things from other people. So having some sodalite nearby can help clear that out. And you can do that in many different ways. You can hold it in your hand, you could stick it in your back pocket, you could use it to just clear around you, you could hold it on a part of your body wherever you feel like there's some stagnation there. I have a sodalite necklace. You could also simply look up a picture of sodalite and stare at it for a while. You can also write down the word sodalite and put that on your water to structure your water. There's many different ways that you can work with holistic medicine, with energy medicine in a way that is going to support you. So sodalite is great for clearing out, any discordant energies from your system, whether they belong to you or to somebody else. I use it whenever I people too much. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like, I've had enough of people. I'm done with the people. I need to go away. Even if you like the people, you can like the people or not like the people, but you get to a point where you're done with the people. And so this is a good one to use if you're done with peopling. Here's another one I wanted to share with you. This is a flower essence. It's from a company called Spirit in Nature, and it's a pineapple flower essence. And I don't have the what it's for in front of me, but I felt like it was a very, very good one for the month of July. So go look it up. Pineapple essence. I have no affiliation with any of this. I'm not here trying to prescribe blah blah. I'm just sharing what I use and what I intuitively get it would be helpful to work with the energy. There's no negative side effects from this kind of stuff. I mean, if you want to go do something else that has 10 pages of side effects, that's totally your choice. Again, I'm not here to advise. I'm just sharing with you some other alternatives that I find very helpful. So Spirit in Nature, flower essence, look up pineapple and see what it means. It could be exactly what you need. I find flower essences mind-bogglingly helpful, like so helpful. I can't even articulate how helpful they are. So that popped in, and then there was one other piece that I felt called to share, and it's this book. It's called Rhythms of Life, and it's all about, some of it's a little bit heady to read, but if you use it intuitively and just pop around, or if you're into a little more scientific kind of books, then maybe you'll like it. But it's about it's about the biological clock, essentially. And I don't mean like a woman's reproductive clock. Let me read this to you. This is so super interesting. Why do people have more heart attacks in the early morning? How do bees tell the time? Or reindeer know when to migrate? Why can't teenagers get out of bed in the morning? And how can we avoid jet lag? The answer lies in biological clocks. We live in a 24/7 world dictated by the atomic clock. Yet our bodies, honed by over 3 billion years of evolution, beat to an older celestial rhythm. Drawing on the latest research in many species of plants, animals, bacteria, and algae, this book describes the world of circadian rhythms and makes this area of biological medicine accessible to all. It explains how our daily patterns of sleeping and waking, eating and drinking depend not just on how tired we feel or how hungry or thirsty we are, but what our biological clocks are telling us. Rhythms of Life provides the essential science that enables us to understand the biological basis of our behavior. And so I think that's so interesting, especially again, because we live in a time where there's a lot of disruption to our natural rhythm. And everything that I'm learning around quantum biology and how we truly heal has to do with circadian rhythm and being more in connection with nature and with light, no matter the ridiculous attempts to block the sun and do all sorts of whacked out stuff to the environment. Like nature will prevail, like because it does, and we are nature. And so the more that we can identify and understand and know what our natural rhythms are about, and we can understand how these cycles of energy move in our lives, it really is a door opener, not just to our understanding, but really to our freedom of movement through the world. Like we're free to think differently about how we operate and how we feel about things. We're not living on this loop anymore. You know what I mean? Like nobody wants to be a broken record. I don't want to be a broken record. Do you? So when you get to know this undercurrent of rhythm, which again is why I love to make energy read recordings, because it helps you to start to tune into the larger picture at play and how energy is moving and affecting all of us, and to begin to navigate your life energetically. It's a different rhythm, right? Like, you think we evolved to work at 9 to 5 jobs? I mean, there may be something to that. There may be something to that. And depending on your individual design, that may be a schedule that works in alignment for you. But I I have noticed that there's many specific ways that our natural rhythms have been interrupted. And I know that I'm part of a movement and part of the paradigm shift, and part of the new paradigm that says, no, let's reestablish what the natural rhythm is actually about and what we are here to live by, um, because it's how we're structured, right? That's all I'm going to say right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate your presence, and hope you've made it to the end of this, because I got a little excited at the end talking about this whole natural rhythm, because it's a topic that means a lot to me and I have a lot of passion around. With that, I'm going to wish you well. Please do go to my website, vasmith.com, and take advantage of that coupon code while it's there through July 15th. But even if you find this after that, do take a look. There's 10 different options for you to align your purpose with the paradigm shift. vasmith.com. Thank you again. Please do like, comment, subscribe, share, click to get notifications, all the good social media stuff. I'll be back again soon with more on the energy. Take care.